My brother Jake was always the golden child, star athlete, honor roll student, first in our family to finish college. After his ex-wife Sarah cleaned out their accounts and ran off with her yoga instructor, he spent 2 years rebuilding his life and avoiding relationships completely. So when he brought Meredith home, my parents practically started planning the wedding before dessert. She was gorgeous, charming, laughed at all Dad's jokes, and felt wrong from the second Jake left the room. Her smile would drop, her eyes would go flat, and she'd scan our house like an auditor. She memorized every detail about our family: who owned what business, which properties were in whose name, what Grandpa had built, what the family hardware chain was worth. She always forgot her wallet at restaurants, ordered the most expensive dishes, and never finished them. Jake paid, smiled, and defended her. Her job was a mystery marketing role at a tech startup called Digital Dynamics, a company I couldn't find online at all. Her schedule made no sense. When I pushed, she hid behind NDAs and confidential clients. The more I paid attention, the more things didn't add up. An accent that slipped, a backstory that changed, knowledge of family details Jake swore he'd never told her. The turning point came at Easter. I went upstairs for aspirin and heard Meredith whispering in the guest bathroom. I was about to knock when I heard, "The wedding has to be before his grandmother dies. The inheritance won't transfer if we're not married. Just keep her alive and playing sick. We split everything 60-40, like we discussed." My blood ran cold. She talked about delaying diagnoses, losing paperwork, and making the chemo harsh enough that no one questions it when she finally dies. But not too soon. Then came the backup plan. Jake's $1.2 million in life insurance if something went wrong with the inheritance. I stood there shaking, recording every word. That night I started digging like my brother's life depended on it. Because it did. In her purse I found full credit reports on my entire family, printed and highlighted. Not just Jake, my parents, me, everyone. She'd run background checks months before their accidental coffee shop meeting. On her laptop, the browser history read like the syllabus for a murder course: how to rush a wedding timeline, inheritance laws with marriage clauses, how to access spouses' accounts, digitalis poisoning symptoms, how to trigger heart attacks in elderly cancer patients without detection. Her finances were a disaster: tens of thousands in debt, evictions, car about to be repossessed. Then I found them: records of 2 previous marriages to older, wealthy men. Both died suddenly, shortly after marrying her. One heart attack. One fell down the stairs. Both left everything to her. The police listened, but with no active crime, they treated it like a family dispute. "We can't arrest someone for what they might do," the detective said. "If your brother actually gets hurt, then we investigate." So my choices were clear: blow up the wedding, or watch Jake walk into a marriage with a woman who had already buried 2 husbands and was planning a third. The night before the ceremony, I tried one last time to warn him. He was exhausted and furious. "You've been against her from day one," he snapped. "If you can't support my happiness, maybe you shouldn't come to the wedding." So I showed up. I put on the bridesmaid dress Meredith chose, posed for photos, smiled on command, and slipped a folder of evidence into a hidden pocket sewn into the lining. I walked down the aisle in front of her, past our grandmother in her wheelchair, fragile, glowing with happiness, completely unaware she was the centerpiece of someone else's financial plan. The ceremony went as normal until the words everyone ignores. If anyone can show just cause why they may not be joined together, let them speak now or forever hold their peace. I stood up. I do. 300 heads swung toward me. Jake went white, then red. Meredith's face flickered. Rage, calculation, then practiced confusion. I walked to the altar, pulled out my phone and the folder. "Meredith," I said, "tell everyone about your Easter phone call. The one where you said the wedding had to happen before Grandma dies, so you can get the inheritance and split it 60-40. "I have no idea what you're talking about," she said softly, eyes shining with tears. "Jake's sister has been struggling mentally. We've tried to support her." So I pressed play. Her voice echoed through the room. "The wedding has to be before his grandmother dies. Just keep her playing sick. We'll split everything 60-40. The whole place erupted. Gasps, whispers, someone swearing under their breath. My grandmother went pale. Jake stared at Meredith like she was a stranger. I laid the papers out on the altar like evidence for a jury. Her massive debts and judgments, her background checks on all of us, dated before she met Jake. Screenshots of her search history on inheritance law and undetectable poisoning. Records of her 2 dead husbands and the assets she'd inherited. "She didn't stumble into your life," I told Jake. "She hunted you. You were never her fiancé. You were her next payout." For the first time, Meredith's sweet act cracked completely. Her voice went cold. "Fine," she said. "Yes, I vetted your family. Everyone vets people now. That doesn't mean I don't love him." "You told us you'd never been married," Jake said hoarsely. "I said past relationships didn't work out," she snapped. "Death qualifies." The way she said it made my skin crawl. My father told her to leave. She refused at first, then ripped off her ring and threw it at Jake's feet. "When your crazy sister ruins every relationship you ever have, remember you chose her over me," she spat, and stormed out as nearly half the guests followed. The rest of us ended up in the country club manager's office with papers spread out on the desk, and Jake staring at them like they were written in another language. "How long have you known?" he finally asked. I started suspecting at Easter. I've been gathering proof for 6 weeks. I tried to tell you. You wouldn't listen. He dropped his head into his hands. "How do I keep choosing women who want to destroy me?" "You didn't choose her," I said. "She chose you. On purpose." The detective took things a lot more seriously once there was a public scene, a recorded threat, and concrete evidence of past husbands and false identities. He called other states, reopened old files, and came back with something worse. Meredith Ann Collins wasn't real. She was actually Michelle Carter, with a 15-year record of cons, marriage fraud, identity theft, scams. The sudden deaths of both previous husbands were being re-examined with new testing. Digitalis showed up. Suddenly, it wasn't suspicious timing anymore. It was murder. 3 weeks later, she was arrested in Las Vegas, trying to marry a casino owner under yet another name. Jake changed his locks, hired private security for a while, and started trauma therapy to figure out why he keeps attracting predators. 6 months later, our grandmother died peacefully surrounded by family, not poisoned, not managed for someone's timeline. Jake inherited the business as intended, and more importantly, he was alive to run it. A year later, he started dating Emma, a 3rd-grade teacher, kind, grounded, with her own money and her own life. When Jake told her the story, she was horrified, not impressed. That alone felt like progress. He jokes now that I'm his permanent background check department. I tell him I'll stand up in any room, in front of any number of people, if it means keeping him alive. People still whisper about the day I stopped a wedding at "Speak now or forever hold your peace." Some think I went too far, but when I look at my brother, alive, laughing, healing, I know I didn't go far enough. Family protects family, even if it means detonating a fairy tale in front of 300 witnesses.